Right, Strongman fan, welcome back to the MSD Systems YouTube channel where we talk all things strongman, training, technical breakdowns, PDs, all kinds of stuff. So if that's up your street, make sure you subscribe. Today we're going to be breaking down Eddie Hall's axle clean and press technique. Eddie Hall held the world record axle press, and Eddie's got some of the strongest shoulders in the world, and he's got really good and efficient axle technique. So it's going to be good for you guys to see what he does, how he does it. There's some key things that Eddie does really well. As you can see, he's double overhand gripping this right now, which is because of the weight of it. With an axle, it is a little bit quicker to double overhand the axle from the floor. However, it's obviously extremely difficult to grip. So there's always going to be a limitation on how much weight you can double overhand to the belly. This is obviously within his grip strength ability. He's going to take it double overhand. Technically wise, Eddie's not got the best clean pull. You do want to do a clean pull from the ground, which means that you use your triple extension to get the axle to the belly. Eddie is monstrously strong, and here he just kind of rows it to his belly, which I'll be honest, isn't a good or bad thing for him. It's perfectly fine. He's strong enough to do it, so who the fuck cares, basically. If you're one of these people that struggles and sometimes you miss, like you're trying to get it on your belt or your belly and you can't get it high enough, then if you don't have the strength Eddie Hall has in his rows, then you're not going to be able to do that. So you might want to practice a more clean pull, which will mean that you'll go for your first and second pull into power position and you hit your triple extension. That would make sense if you know anything about weightlifting. If you don't, research the clean pull. If you're struggling with that part, learn it, apply it to your axle. It'll really help you get to your belly. Anyway, once he's on his belly here, Eddie has got a really stable rack position because of, well, his stomach. He dips really well. So when he dips here, look how deep he goes. He's trying to maintain vertical torso. It does hinge a little bit on this rep. He does, later in the video on the heavier ones, he actually gets better at this skill. I don't know whereabouts this axle was in his training. It might be at the start of this training, and he did get better at this as it went on. But he does hinge a little bit, but he gets quite a deep dip for his legs, fairly vertical torso, real good position. As he pops to his rack, this is one of the differences between the Apollon's axle rack and a rotating axle or barbell rack, because he lands it on the top of his chest, and then you can see now he rolls under afterwards and then starts to press. So you see that again, he'll go to his belly and then he goes to his upper chest, bang, but he doesn't bring his elbows fully through and under. He's racking it higher first and then coming under afterward. That's something that a lot of people will, I would say 80% of people will prefer that. You can also pop and let your hands go of the axle and bring them underneath at the same time. That does require a little bit more proprioception and skill, but it does require a better rack position. E.g., if you can get an Olympic rack, that's going to work better for you. Eddie Hall's rack position is when he gets his arms under, about a bit lower than that is where his rack position is. You know, you'll see this in strongman a lot. If people's rack position is at the chin, mine is, because I've done so much log, even though I have had an Olympic rack in the past, because I've done so much log press, I've got so much stability there that my rack is at my chin as well. So what that means is, if you were trying to pop and get your arms under it, you'd have to throw it this much higher to land there in rack position. So for most people that are in that position, it's better to chuck the axle to the top of the chest, boom, there first, and then lean back and get your elbows under it into your normal rack afterwards. If you do have a good Olympic rack position though, you can pop it, let go of the axle, come round and through and land there straight away. This is a barbell, and because the barbell rotates, you can see that Eddie does this, he just throws it straight into rack position. So he lands straight in rack, he misses that transition. That's because it rotates. So he's able to keep hold of the bar and then bring his arm round, and there's no effort there. On an Apollon's, if he was to do that and keep squeezing, he would rotate the whole Apollon's and it would maul his wrist. That's why you've got to let go and bring him under. A lot harder to do when you have this rack position, but on a barbell, it obviously rotates for you. Now he's still in flat shoes here. That's something to note, that he lifts in flats. But he's getting a nice vertical torso on that dip. Because the barbell has a lot of flex in it, it doesn't require as deep a dip when it's on his belly. So it's on his belly here, he doesn't dip that deep because he's using the oscillation to get the power. And he gets in a really nice flow here. This is really strong, a really strong set. So it's boom, boom, boom. It even looks like he might be lifting on a deadlift bar there, to be honest with you. It's quite wide and quite whippy. This is where his axle starts to look really nice and efficient. He's still in flat. It's interesting that he likes to lift in flat, because most people would prefer a raised heel. What's the best shoes to wear, Shane, when I do this lift, that lift, this lift? The shoes don't make the lifter. Just wear what you feel best in. It really doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't matter. If you put me in a pair of flats, I'm still a log animal. I'm still a logged on. Put me in heels, still logged on. Change my heel height a little bit, still logged on. Doesn't really matter. The thing that you train in the most is going to be the best. So if you just pick something and stick with it, it will probably be the best for you. And then you probably won't change it. But in terms of trying to get it to what's optimal, stop thinking about the 0.2% you get out of your fucking shoes and get strong as fuck, you silly bastards. Right, anyway, so he's taking it over under grip now because it's getting heavier. Note that he's thumb over on the grip. Some people like to be thumb under, some people like to be thumb over. I'm a thumb under guy. But again, it doesn't really make too much odds. And oh, notice here that now that he's over under, Eddie does use more of a clean pull. So you can see that as he's here, look, he's into the hip crease. His arms are a lot straighter apart from his overhand there. But his arms are a lot straighter than on the double overhand one. He's got his knees through. He's actually in power position, what you would refer to in weightlifting. Let's see if he gets triple extension. Yeah, he does. Look at that nice extension for his feet. Boom, you can see him. Let's try and get a pause. Yeah, there. So he's hit triple extension. His shoulders are a little over the bar. They could be a little further back, admittedly, but Eddie's not a weightlifter. He's going to have a few minor miscues, but it doesn't matter because he's an animal. The thing is with weightlifting principles, if you can take 80% of a weightlifter's skill and apply it to your strongman game, it's going to help a lot. And Eddie's only missing a few little minor points here, so yeah, it's good. Boom, lands lower on his belly than the 160, so he's got to do a second pop. Second pop, notice he's still underhand. He waits until he's in a stable and safe position before he transitions to an overhand. He's also got thumbs over, or thumbs under I guess it is at this point. He's squeezing the bar with his hands. I prefer to go thumbless here, and so do a lot of people, but again, it doesn't really make too much odds if you feel better one way or the other. Look at this dip now. Boom, look how deep it is, vertical torso. This is a really perfect dip for the axle, and he's going to generate a shit ton of force. Boom, landed on the upper chest. Then he's going to bring his elbows under nice and slow, and it's going to start coming off his chest due to his rack position, but then he uses that stretch at the bottom to accelerate into his strict press. Very clever little subtle thing he does there that not many people notice is if your rack position is at your chin and you're leant back and you bring this under, what's going to happen? It's going to pop up because this is where it wants to sit. So Eddie's using this to accelerate into his strict press. You'll notice as well that he keeps his head back for a fair while before he brings it through because he generates more force when he's leaning back like that. So he actually does the strict, he does his axles like I do my strict log. It's pretty crazy. And then bang, so much power there. Head through, a bit too much load for his heel there, so his feet did leave. Who cares, he would have got the down, I guess. 200 key in the competition. Ooh, much more powerful clean there than the one in training. This has gone straight to his belly, bang. Arm over again. Dip, vertical torso, powerful extension, lands there, leans back. Head went through a little too early, which made that a bit harder than it should have been. This is 206. Exactly the same technique. So thumb over the bar, squeeze him. He hits his triple extension onto the belly perfectly. Deep dip, boom, into the chest, leans back a bit more, keeps his head back longer, better press, awesome. World record, 216 bats. Same technique team, yeah? And then he's popping it. Oh, he gets it straight up again. Look how deep this dip is on his clean. Boom, perfect. Vertical torso, pops it to the chest, leans back. Ooh, even better press. Awesome. There's quite a few things we can take away from Eddie. He lifts in a little bit of a setup that's a bit different to a lot of lifters. He has flat shoes, his thumbs over, he's squeezing the bar a lot. A lot of people will be thumbless. Has done that and taken it all the way to a world record. It just shows that these minor things that people overthink, like what shoes should I wear, are a little bit irrelevant, and it really comes down to what's best for you, the individual. I think that Eddie had the strongest shoulders in the world, and that I think that he could have taken. I'm really gutted that he never took that log press record. I think he could have done 240, to be honest with you. I think that he still has the potential to come back, because the thing with lifting is it's a little bit different to most sports. Most sports, the things that you lose and the reason why people can't compete at a high level are due to things like reaction time and things that aren't really applicable to absolute strength, which is what, you know, max log is. So I still think that Eddie's got plenty of years to come back and break these axle and log press records, the overhead records. I think he could definitely take the back if he really wanted to. I don't know if he will, because obviously life's moved on. He's a bit of a businessman now. A lot of people don't give Eddie Hall credit for the things that he did. Like, for example, Eddie does something on the deadlift, which I've never seen anybody talk about, but the way he trains the deadlift, where he misses that last little bit of the lockout, is very clever. As soon as I watched it, I noticed and understood why he was doing it and the positions and skills that he's acquiring by not locking out his pulls. So that was a very clever thing that Eddie did. Don't know if he's made this himself or if he's been told to do this. If somebody told him, they're very clever, fair play. If you figured it out yourself, Eddie, good man. And with the axle, people think that Eddie is a big mong that's just got big mong power. His axle's very technical. He hit that clean pull really well, hit that triple extension into the belly. He's got a perfect vertical torso. He dips perfectly on his clean, lands in the rack position perfectly, and then his strict press positions, he takes advantage of the restriction in mobility to accelerate the axle off of the chest, keeps his head back so he's in a strong position to press through his sticking point, and then he brings it through at lockout. His axle technique's absolutely spot on. Obviously it's a little bit unique with the strict press, but you know, legs are for squatting, shoulders are for pressing. Who's going to argue? Hope that helped. Hope maybe you learned something that you can apply to your own training. Remember, hit the subscribe button. Scroll through some of our other videos. Look at our other technical breakdowns, because trust me, they'll help you with your strongman game. Sometimes looking and having someone analyze little micro positions can just open up and, you know, make things click, light bulbs go off in your own head that you can apply to your own training. So make sure you check out the other videos. Subscribe, motherfucker, and I'll see you next time.